Latte. Their ever-changing menu of award-winning salad sandwiches and soups ensures you'll always find something to love. Because ingredients matter, Cafe Latte never uses artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Visit them on Victoria and Grand. More at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live right here on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Coming up in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. And, of course, on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network at blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Friday. Good to be with you here today. Matt and Brett here as we are just tickled pink to let you know I'm not going to be here next week. I mean, well, you guys are all smiles.
You missed the company party we had this morning.
Did we? Did I?
Yeah, it was over. You're on vacation.
Oh, you got me with that one. But, actually, I missed so many things here. Like there was a party? Oh, without me. Oh, okay. I see how it's going to go. Yeah, I'm going to take some vacation. My girls are back from college. It's Easter week. I'm going to take time with them, and that's just that. So just FYI, Monday through Friday next week, we've got great lineup guest hosts lined up, including Bruce Klopfleisch. We got Philip Anthony from the Downright Upright Show and Ellie Krug. Fantastic. Just wonderful. So you're going to have great content all week long next week. I am going to be back here the Monday after Easter. So, yeah, just getting that set up there. We'll let you know Jack Rice. But yeah, before you give up on me today, let me tell you, I've got a humdinger of a show for you here, okay? Jack Rice from Court TV and friend of the show who has filled in for me as well before. Jack is going to join us. We're going to talk about Iran and also this lawsuit from Minnesota to force the federal government to try to give them the evidence in the Preddy and Good shootings. We'll talk to him. That's coming up here in a little less than a half an hour. Also coming up in the next hour, Making of Mill City, a great history book from Robert Frame. He's going to be kind enough to join us to talk about this, and particularly one invention which kind of built the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul into the what was at that point the flower capital of the world. It is, of course, time for us to recognize. Can I just say this? I keep reading this line from yesterday's cabinet meeting, and I just kind of say to myself, this is really the world we live in. Brett, tell me what you think about this one. This is one Donald J. Trump, J for jackass. I'm the only president that ever took a cognitive test, Trump added. I took it 3 times. It's actually a very hard test for a lot of people. It wasn't hard for me.
Is that really a flex?
So after you took it the first time, they said, whoa, maybe we should have him take it again. I've told you about this. So my dad, before he passed away, had a stroke. And I was there. I went down to visit him, and I was there when the physical therapy was happening, and they had a mental therapy person come on in, and they gave him the cognitive test. The cognitive test is like finding the image on a highlights magazine. Okay, that's really what you're looking at. Where's the flashlight? Well, it's in his pants there. Anyway, you see, that's how you can find it. It's fun. Highlights, great times. Anyway, basically it was like, name which one is the cow. You know, what time is shown on this clock? What color is this? Do you smell burnt toast? I mean, it's that kind of test. That's all it is. It is, and he had to take it not once, not twice, 3 times, because big boy Donnie T. Oh yeah, I got this. Oh yay, I'm smart. Have you ever taken a cognitive test?
Not like that, no.
Outside of like kindergarten?
I can't say I have, but I'm sure maybe he got an award after each test. So
did the FIFA Cognitive Test Award come? Oh, I bet that's
that's
beautiful.
why he took it so many times. Just gets a new award.
Get it. I can see how it is. I bet that. By the way, that FIFA Peace Prize, that is absolutely not burning them to the soul right now, is it? FIFA, way to go. One of the teams that's supposed to come here for the World Cup now can't, because the guy you gave the Peace Prize to has been bombing their country. Peace. That's what are they painting peace on the bombs? That's all I'm going to ask on that one. So You have any fun plans this weekend?
Not really. I can think of this weekend. No, I know you obviously have some plans, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, well, I mean, of course, no Kings. I mean,
Yeah.
and we should encourage everybody if you get the chance.
Yeah, I'm
no
still
King-
gonna probably.
Well, they're going to be everywhere. I got a story coming up on that in the next hour. They are going to be everywhere, and I want to encourage everybody. You don't necessarily have to go to the biggest rally in town because, I mean, if you're concerned about traffic and parking and stuff, that's legit. But there are so many other rallies around. If you go to their map, it's amazing. And all the red areas, they're having protests. I might have time to this. Did you see the CPAC thing that happened today? The CPAC convention? The guy comes on out and says, who wants to see, and I don't know why he asked this question, who wants to see an impeachment? And the crowd started cheering. Now, the only person that could be impeached right now is Trump, and he has to stop and say, no, that's not the right answer. There are going to be no Kings rallies everywhere. Heck, there might even be one over at the White House. I don't know what Melania is up to, but no Kings. No Kings. Thanks, Melania. Oh, yeah, God, that would be, if there's a photo of that, please share with the rest of us. Make sure you participate. Make sure you get out there. Make sure you get your voice heard because this is crazy time right now. This is absolute freaking crazy time. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I do want to make sure I mention, and I just said this yesterday. In regards to the Dow Jones. We already have had the S&P and the NASDAQ now hit correction territory, which means basically they've lost 10%. Excuse me. Yeah, is it 10% of their value? They go into correction territory if they lose 10% of their value. Well, today, the Dow joined them. The Dow has lost 10% of its value because we're kind of getting to the point where the fixes that Trump is trying to put on in, namely, and the main one is the selling of Bitcoin, which then floods into the stock markets, plus buying back of their own stock. It's coming to an end. I mean, it was being propped up before the Iran war. And the fact they were able to maintain for 3 weeks some sort of normal, numbers on the markets was crazy. Give you an idea of a few of the numbers here. Bitcoin is down $2,500 today. Oh, good investment, bruh. Good investment, bruh. Hope you like that car being repossessed, bruh. Oil, the even U.S. crude, the West Texas market is up to basically $100 a barrel now. The Brent crude, that's for most of the rest of the world, that's $113 a barrel. So that's not going well at all. And then if you go back to the markets themselves, Dow Jones was down basically 800 points today, S&P down 100, and NASDAQ down almost 459 points there. On the NASDAQ, that's massive. It's all starting to come apart. And why? Because you've put an absolute, complete, and total moron in charge of the government. Gas now is $4 a gallon nationally. And every oil executive is saying the same thing right now. This is going to get a lot higher before it gets lower. They are all saying the same thing right now. $4, you're going to be wishing it was $4 again. And right now, and this is one of those tentpole things where Trump is desperate to not allow this to get. During Biden's administration for like 1 week, it was above $5 a gallon. And mainly because I think the oil industry was in cahoots against him, working with the Republicans to try to make Biden look bad, frankly. Because, the crazy part is Biden really didn't have that much to do with the oil markets back then. So it really was kind of the oil industry itself basically saying, we want to make things look bad, so we're going to go after Biden. And they did. And so it got up to $5 a gallon. Trump himself has actually affected the oil markets by bombing Iran and shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. He has. He is going to be desperate to not allow this gas price to get that much higher, to which I don't think the oil and gas industry is going to, if they get really strained, which they are getting, and Iran doesn't seem to be willing to work with us at this point. So his approval rating is at 36%, and 2/3 of the country think he is screwing up with Iran. 2/3. The other third, there are people like, don't make me realize what a loser I am in real life. Let me keep my Donald Trump fantasy. Okay, fine. Good luck living in the sheltered basement of your mom's house, okay? The Iranian foreign minister has accused the U.S. and Israel of contradicting the 10-day pause on energy strikes after fresh attacks on Iran's energy infrastructure. And, of course, who did this? Israel did. Netanyahu did, because they don't want pauses. They don't want this. Netanyahu wants to kill 92 million Iranians. That's just that. The Saudis seem to want to do this as well. Yee. The concept here is that they tricked Trump into striking originally, and now they can basically keep striking and being done with it, which might mean eventually Trump just walks away from this and says, I don't think he'll ever accept that he lost on this, but I do not think that in any way, shape, or form, he's going to sit there and say, this is worth continuing, especially if he gets that gas price towards $5. He'll get out of this as quickly as possible. The Israeli military did indeed say they struck heavy water plant and uranium enrichment facility. They've alleged the Israeli strikes on Iranian steel power and nuclear sites were coordinated with the U.S. and contradicted the president's extended deadline for diplomacy, a reference to the 10-day pause on attacking the energy fields. It comes as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's latest update on the war suggests a de-escalation as he affirmed the conflict would last weeks, not months. How, you clown car village? How? Iran had indicated a willingness to talk about certain things. They gave you their 5-point plan, none of which you guys are going to go along with. So he also said that he believed the United States would achieve its goals in Iran without ground troops, despite reports the Wall Street Journal that Trump is considering sending another 10,000 troops to the Middle East, where they could be sent within striking distance of Karg Island, where he thinks there's a large monkey. The key oil export hub, this is off the Persian in the Persian Gulf. I went through the numbers yesterday because I asked the question, when was the last time anyone attacked a country with 90 million people in it? A country that does not like you. This isn't like rolling through France and the French people coming out and throwing flowers on the American soldiers. They don't like you. You're bombing hospitals. You're bombing children. Pete Hegseth is loving that, and he's bragging about it. So, yeah, it's you're going to need 1 million troops. So I don't know what you think you're going to be doing with these troops, but good luck with that. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has now closed the Strait of Hormuz, adding that any transit through the waterways will face harsh measures, according to state media. Things going great there. Yeah, it's going great. I'm going to take a break. When I come on back here, hey, guess what? The federal government's building a database of voter information. You know, what you Republicans used to be scared of, but now love. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Tom Hartman from my friends at All Energy Solar, and I want to talk about something most people don't consider until it's too late. Energy independence isn't just about saving money. It's also about what happens when the grid goes down. Severe weather, aging infrastructure, unexpected outages, they happen, and when they do, most homes go dark. But not homes with solar and battery backup from All Energy Solar. Here's what makes it work. Solar panels charge the battery during the day, so when a storm hits and the grid fails, your home stays powered. Lights, refrigerator, medical equipment, whatever matters most keeps running. All Energy Solar is certified by both Tesla and Enphase for battery storage and has been installing complete solar plus battery systems since 2009. Minnesota battery rebates are also available. Don't wait for the next outage to wish you had acted. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
Families, get ready for Dinosaur World Live, a thrilling interactive show at Children's Theater Company March 3rd through April 5th. This hit show is the perfect blend of science, storytelling, and spectacular live theater. These remarkably lifelike dinosaurs move, they roar, and yes, the mighty T-Rex towers before your eyes. This is edge-of-your-seat excitement, followed by the chance to meet a dinosaur up close. Dinosaur World Live opens March 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for indoor winter activities. Cozy up with a book. They have all the bestsellers and new releases. Plus, their booksellers are great at making recommendations. Beyond books, enjoy mind-bending puzzles and family fun board games for those snowy days. And don't miss Next Chapter's in-store events, book clubs, author signings, and children's story time. So stay busy this winter with Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T. I'm a proud supporter of AM 950 because this station shares the values that I care about most: community, connection, and making a difference. Just like AM 950, I believe in using our energies, our resources, and our voices to lift up others. That's why I started the Mary T. Scholar Program at the University of Minnesota College of Education and Human Development, providing graduate students with internships internationally. For over the past 10 years, our students have served communities in Laos, Cambodia, Nepal, India, Cameroon, and Thailand, gaining experience and helping people in ways that really make a difference. Supporting AM 950 fosters conversation, awareness, and action in our communities. It's about shared values and believing that together we can make a difference. Visit marytinc.com to learn more about the work that we do.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Thanks for being here today. 952-946-6205. Yeah, I don't know where Rubio's getting this idea that this thing's going to be over. Oh, we're just going to be done. I guess that, like I said, my guess is going to be Trump is just going to walk away from it at some point and just say, I've lost interest in this. And yeah, just god awful. The U.S. Department of Justice, this little nugget slipped on by. Now, reminder, part of the plan that Trump tries to pull off, and he does actually with a lot of success, is he floods the market with craziness. I'll give you a great example. That story yesterday of he's putting his name on the dollar bill because he wants to feel like the big boy, third world despot, I guess. I'm putting my mistress on the other currency, that sort of thing. He does that, and it kind of forces the news media to have to cover that at some point. And then a lot of things that you should be paying attention to kind of slide through the cracks because news media is so much knee jerk. They'll always kind of look for the salacious, the scandalous, the something there, the thing that's going to get reactions as opposed to what the real news is, because sometimes the biggest news stories, they're kind of getting buried. That's kind of why I talk a lot about the markets. It's just the economy. I mean, we don't get people talking about the economy anymore. But you should be paying attention to it because he is really screwing this up. And we're talking it's going to take generations to recover this. But here's this little nugget. The U.S. Department of Justice confirmed in court on Thursday that it is sharing sensitive voter data with the Department of Homeland Security in search for non-citizen voters. But with fingers crossed. I don't know if their fingers were crossed or not. I'm just going to presume so. The DOJ lawyer denied the department is building a national voter database. Oh, really? Oh, really? Can I see your hands while you say that? The Justice Department has demanded states provide full copies of their voter lists, including sensitive personal information such as driver's license numbers, social security numbers. It sued 29 states and the District of Columbia for refusing to turn over the data. At least a dozen other states have provided their lists. Those states, you know which ones those are. Those are the stupid backwards Republican states. That's what, here, take all of our personal information. What could go wrong? Show those libs who's in charge. What? Wait a minute. What do you mean my credit rating's bad? Yeah, that's how it goes. Seriously. I mean, what a bunch of clown cars. And I want to remind people that the whole goal is to get these voter lists. Pam Bondi came and told the governor of Minnesota, if you want ICE agents gone, give us your voter rolls. To which the state said, oh, F you. I do like Governor Walz, and I do love our Secretary of State, Steve Simon. Although they actually wouldn't use language like that, I'm paraphrasing. That's a summation. Blank off. I say that's what they said. But that was the key. I mean, they will send militarized Gestapo ICE in to beat the citizens of a city just as a negotiating point to get the voter data. They'll all go away. Your immigration problem won't exist anymore if you just give us the information we want. During the hearing, the Justice Department's lawsuit seeking Rhode Island's voter data, mighty tiny. I lived in Rhode Island for a few years. It took me a while to get that accent out of my system. It was wicked hard. Anyway, sorry, my bad. I sometimes slip back into it. Who doesn't love a grinder in a cabinet? There you go. DOJ attorney Eric Neff said the information would be shared with Homeland Security. U.S. District Court Judge Mary McElroy had asked whether the Justice Department would send the list to Homeland Security with instructions to search for non-citizens. Yes, we intend to do so, said Neff. He added the Justice Department and Homeland Security already have a use agreement in place for such sharing. 3 federal judges have so far rejected the Justice Department's demands for state voter data, and no judge has sided with the department. DOJ has appealed those decisions, and oral arguments are scheduled for later this spring after the Trump administration pushed for quick decisions ahead of the midterm elections. The Justice Department has said it needs the voter data to determine whether states are complying with federal voting rights laws that require states to regularly update and clean up their lists. The department has voiced particularly determination to root out non-citizen voting, which is in itself extremely rare. They're making up basically, they're turning an anthill into a mountain and trying to scream, we need all the information. Now, by the way, to the other states that have already given your voter information to the United States government, I want to remind you that that's what exactly happened in Arizona when they brought in the cyber ninjas and they stole everyone's data from Arizona, shipped it off to Montana. And then when people said, well, where did it go? They said, we don't know. And it's gone. And the reason why is because data is money, and they have all your data, and they're selling your driver's license and your social security number and your healthcare records and your search history. They're selling all that to the highest bidder. So you're fools. In September, Homeland Security told State Line that an unsigned statement that the Justice Department was sharing voter data with the agency in a collaborative effort. But Neff's courtroom statement on Thursday appeared to mark the first on-record acknowledgement of the data sharing. CBS News also reported on Thursday that 2 agencies are nearing a final agreement on sharing voter data for immigration and criminal investigations. The Justice Department and Homeland Security didn't respond to requests for comment from State Line. In recent weeks, the Justice Department lawyer sidestepped a question about whether voter data would be used for immigration purposes. On March 3rd, during a hearing in a lawsuit over Minnesota's voter roll, U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez asked DOJ lawyer James Tucker whether there was an intention to use the data for immigration enforcement. Not to my knowledge. No, Your Honor, not with the data we're getting, Tucker said, according to the transcript. But he added that for some federal prosecutors were working with Homeland Security. During a federal court hearing in Maine on Thursday, Tucker said that the Justice Department was not creating a national voter database. At the same time, he didn't rule out voter data being checked against federal databases. Oh, you mean that database? Oh, I'm sorry. I had my drink on it. I didn't realize that what you're talking about. Again, that's something that's been routine the United States has done in the past, Tucker said. I want to remind you, every one of these people during Barack Obama's administration and during Joe Biden's administration would be red face, veins popping out of their forehead, spittle flying from their mouths, their jowls, with eyes wide, pounding on podiums. How dare the government try to create a database of its citizens? This is totalitarianism. And you've welcomed to, this is the freaking old country buffet of databases right now. They're shopping their information around. Elon Musk has got it. I guarantee you Amazon has got it. I'm going to guess that Zuck has got it. I'm going to guess all these people already have your information. All the AI companies, they've got your information. Yep. But hey, maybe a Democrat might have thought about doing it once. That was so much worse than actually doing it. Okay. Since Trump took office last year, Homeland Security has refashioned an online program previously used to verify whether immigrants qualify for government benefits into a tool that can verify U.S. citizenship. Called SAVE, the program is capable of checking millions of voters against federal databases for citizenship information. Once again, that's not the SAVE Act. That's a different program. DHS has encouraged states to run their voter lists through the program. Some Democratic state election officials have expressed concerns about the program and point to instances where SAVE has wrongly flagged a voter as a potential non-citizen. They're initiating litigation in states around the country seeking the same information in sort of a cookie-cutter way. It's not good. That comes from the Attorney General of Maine. So, yeah, guess what? They're still trying to get all your information. They'll stop you from voting, but good news is they'll sell it to all their billionaire friends. Jack Rice, when we come back, it's the Matt McNeil Show. Come see the trained chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota, road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota, summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy-efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Prime Productions is thrilled to bring the world premiere of Abuelita by Nathan Youngerberg to the Capri Theater March 14th through the 29th. The grandmother from Iowa brings her grandson to meet his Puerto Rican relatives in sweltering New York, 1993. Tabby's world is transformed with music, dancing, and community. Directed by Shay Cage. Pay-as-your tickets can be purchased at primeprods.org. That's spelled prime, P-R-O-D-S.org.
Get ready for Easter fun with the annual Easter brunch at the Park Tavern. Enjoy Easter ham, all your Easter breakfast and brunch favorites, and all the sides and desserts. Seatings are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th, and you need reservations. $29.95 for adults, $19.95 for those over 65 and under 12 years old, and 5 and under are free. And don't forget the hour of free bowling with every reservation. Call 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Enjoy a delicious, stress-free Easter with the Park Tavern.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 38. Tonight, clear with a low around 25. And Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 54. Experience a gourmet dining destination at Cafe Latte. Their ever-changing menu of award-winning salad, sandwiches, and soups ensures you'll always find something to love. Because ingredients matter, Cafe Latte never uses artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Visit them on Victoria and Grand. More at cafelatte.com.
KTNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Broadcasting in Chicago, WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 11:50 a.m., KKNW on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network, at blueamp.co on Substack, blueamp.co on Substack, and of course on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Jack Rice is just an outstanding human being. Jack Rice Defense is his law firm, and basically, if I'm not mistaken, you're the defense lawyer of the year. So you know, I think that speaks for itself. You know, he's incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to law issues, but he also has been a great guest we've had on the air over the years because he's worked with the intelligence communities, and he has been a great source for real information, especially in times where we don't know what's going on. And he is kind enough to join us today to talk about both the Iran conflict as well as also that lawsuit to try to get the information from the federal government in regards to the evidence in the Pretty Good killings. Jack, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, it's been some time. Great to be with you.
Good to be with you. And you're still, and I should mention Court TV. Where are all you showing up nowadays?
I don't know. I mean, I'm doing a little of this and a little of that. Believe it or not, I still get calls from the Iranians.
You do?
Yes. They actually want me to come on their television, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really good. Thank you.
Okay. You have been on this show before. We have talked about the problem with Iran as far as saber rattling in the past, in that, it's one thing to
Right.
threaten them. It's another thing to try to go to war with them.
Right.
Well, we've now crossed that threshold. First of all, your thoughts just in this, few weeks we've been doing this. What is your thoughts knowing the political strategies and the real world, numbers as far as military and stuff like that that's going on there? What is your thoughts?
I'm still trying to understand why we're there and what we're trying to do. How's that for nice and straight?
Yeah.
We have to think about Iran in the big picture for just a second and think about who they are. This is an extraordinarily sophisticated society, and they have been for a very long time. It has 93 million people. It's 3 times the size of Iraq, if that helps. It's bigger than, let's see, Spain, France, Germany, and the UK combined. This is a very large territory. And when we contemplate what they have a capability of doing, it is dramatic. The problem that we're seeing is on this side of the Atlantic. What we have done is we have gutted the State Department. We have gutted the National Security Council. It's less than half of what it once was, and most of the expertise has been fired or pushed into some other space. The only real requirement that seems to be necessary is a blind loyalty oath to this president. And so the expertise piece is gone because many have been fired outright. And those who haven't been fired have been muzzled completely. But then to make it even worse, what they've actually done, Matt, is they've strangled the very expertise that we have and excluded them from the decision-making process. And essentially what we're seeing right now is Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who are 2 real estate developers at best. And I've seen extraordinary incompetence on that side. And I haven't even talked about the president. I haven't even talked about the fact that in one sentence, he can threaten, reverse, turn, manipulate, and then say the opposite about what he just said, and then he'll bomb you anyway. And so the problem is this idea of negotiation basically means we're deaf, dumb, and blind, and we've stepped into a morass that we don't know how to get out of. And so his response is to say, well, we'll send in another 1,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne. We'll send in the 2 from the Marine Expedition Forces. These are generally Marine Recon, some of the absolute best soldiers, Marines, I apologize forever on that one, into the region as well. And what we're talking about right now is about bombing Karg Island. Nobody is saying it, but that's what I'm afraid is coming. How's that?
Karg Island, of course, is the main petroleum distribution point that they have in Iran. And if they bomb that, basically, the markets alone, just the economic impact of something that stupid would be astronomical, and would probably change the globe's direction over the next century.
Yeah, it's going to take decades to put it back together. Understand the thing about what we have seen in the Persian Gulf is that it's actually very shallow in many places. And the real problem was bringing in ships in order to pump oil out so you can do it in the right way. Karg Island is actually in the northern part of the Persian Gulf. And what it was designed to do was to be this, I'll use the term in a very simple way, a gas station. And what they did, it's about 1/3 the size of Manhattan. And what the purpose is they have undersea piping that's used to move 90% of Iranian oil to that space, and then it's shipped out from there. You destroy this will be decades before this can be fixed. And so the potential, the ramifications of these are huge. And if the idea is that the U.S. is going to go in and take this area, the problem is they may be able to do it, but the cost is going to be extraordinarily high in the short term. But in the long term, it's going to be even worse. And you want to create a level of instability. This is a way to do that. that will outlast not just this president, but the next and the next and the next. And we have to deal with the blowback that comes from that.
Yesterday, because I asked the question, when was the last time any country tried to invade another country of 93 million people?
Right.
The only one I really could get was kind of linear was when Nazi Germany tried to invade Russia, but that was 180. They still sent 3.8 million troops on in there. I estimated it would take at least 1 million troops to try to take Iran. Do you think that's a fair number, or do you think that I'm overselling it or underselling it?
Well, the problem is the logic seemed to be that, and this is really where this president has gone completely off the rails from this approach, is that he seemed to assume if he lobbed a couple of bombs in there, that all of a sudden this was going to make the Iranians capitulate. And the real problem is it's very unclear, because we've never heard this. Truly, we haven't. We haven't heard why we're doing it in the first place. And we haven't also heard what it is we're trying to accomplish. So in other words, the idea of calling it success seems to be whatever is rolling around in his head at the moment, because it seems to change. And then what you're getting is the Iranians in response. Even the foreign minister of Oman he's come out saying the Americans have lost their own foreign policy. They don't know what it is. And so the idea of saying, could 1 million do it? Well, what we've seen is an effort to lop off the leadership. You've seen multiple layers that have been killed by Americans and the Israelis. And what we also know is that the leadership that is coming in, he's threatening to kill them as well, while he's trying to say, we want to negotiate. But then he's also talking about regime change. And so is it regime change? Is it a change in policy? And then we had a 15-point plan, which basically said, give us everything. And what I mean is complete power, your nuclear facilities. You get nothing that's nuclear in the country. We're going to also take your missile defenses. So we're going to take all of those away from you too. Oh, and we're going to basically isolate you from any of your friends and everything else. Is there anything else that I missed other than the fact that we killed all your leadership? What? Is there anything else? No. Is that enough? So yes, the million people, would it take that many? Yes, it would.
Yeah.
You can't carpet bomb this country from one end to the other. And if you tried to do that, my response is this is a level of war crime that we have never seen in the history of the world. This would dwarf World War II.
And you're exactly right. The Air Force generals have already come out saying we're not going to be able to win this by basically bombing our way out of it. How much is Benjamin Netanyahu controlling our foreign policy here?
It's extraordinary. It seems to me, and this is something I think about. I think about this. I remember I was in Jerusalem with one of his senior leaders quite so many years ago, and Netanyahu was the prime minister at the time as well. And he described it this way to me. He described Israel as an American aircraft carrier in the Middle East. The problem is that makes it sound like it's the Americans running the show, but it's clearly not. Because the question is it assumes that the Israelis and the Americans have the same philosophical view, that they're trying to accomplish the same thing. They are not. They have different goals, as they all should. This isn't shocking. The Americans and the Canadians and the British and the French and we have interests, not friends. And that's important to recognize. The problem is it appears that the last person that this president talks to is the one who wins, if you will. He's the one who convinces this president what the answer is. And that's exactly what happened. But I think what makes it worse is he has the Netanyahu bug in his ear, while at the same time, the negotiations that were being taken care of or addressed in Geneva back in February, those went awry because there was incompetency at the time. because they didn't understand, meaning the Americans didn't understand what was going on. And the very next day, the president bombed Iran. Now, we've never heard why. The Israelis seem to know why, and they have a philosophical view of their own.
Yes.
It's not the same.
What is the likelihood that this action destabilizes other countries in the region and gets rid of what has been some relatively stable leadership in these countries, and we could see other countries turn against the United States' interests in the Middle East?
It already has. It already has. If we take a look at what's going on in many of the countries in the Gulf, we're already seeing that instability, and we don't even know exactly where that ends up. I think Oman is a perfect example of this, because what's happening is many of these countries are linked together, and the Iranians are extraordinarily sophisticated. And much of what they're doing with others in the region as well. So the idea that you can uncouple Iran from everybody else, bomb them into the Stone Age, and assume that it's not going to have a blowback that rolls through the entire region. This is the perfect example of a president who does not seem to understand that everything is linked and interlinked. The notion that if you can fight one singular issue and that it will be in isolation and doesn't impact anything else is just missed. I mean, the perfect example of this is when he has isolated the United States from our absolutely closest allies. I'm talking about the Canadians and the Brits and the French and the Germans and the Swedes and the Italians and everybody else. And then when the Strait blows to pieces, and he says, why isn't everybody in here addressing these issues? Yeah. And their response is, you break it, you bought it, baby. So it's not exactly a shock that we gut ourselves on the inside, so we're almost deaf, dumb, and blind. And then anybody who might have helped us before would make it worse. Oh, did I forget the Japanese, who are desperately concerned about this? And when he brought in the Japanese prime minister, he started joking about Pearl Harbor, and I wanted to put a gun in my mouth. I thought to myself, are you joking me that you could do this? And by the way, I was in Italy at the time, so this was just a couple of days ago, and I watched this in Rome, and I thought to myself, you have got to be joking that this could happen. It's like making a joke about Mussolini to the Italians. You start doing something like this, please understand. I keep coming back to the word blowback because we don't know how bad this can be. And that's part of the problem, because this is a sophisticated country. And, well, we seem to be getting less sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
How am I doing now?
It's a truck pull at this country, a drunk truck pull. Jack Rice joining us right now. We'll come back. We'll talk about this lawsuit against the federal government from Minnesota when we do return. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, this is Frank Brown with Minuteman Press Uptown. It's election season. If you're campaigning for a candidate, your outreach needs top quality union printed materials, from direct mail and yard signs to door hangers, buttons, t-shirts, and flyers. Minuteman Uptown is your union shop to get people to the polls. We print everything. We'll keep your candidate top of mind, target your message with a laser focus, and maximize your voter turnout efforts. Get started today at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
For delicious gourmet popcorn, Popped Corn, Popped corn.com has you covered. Popped Corn offers your favorite flavors ready to go. Cheese made with real cheese, their classic mix. More than 80 great flavors. Enjoy featured flavors like Shamrock Caramel and their tasty fudge and nuts. They sell their popcorn in various bag, gift box, and tin sizes, and they ship across the USA. Visit poppedcorn.com and enter in discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com, and make everyone smile.
Hi, this is Chad from AM950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM950 trusts for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
History Theater brings you Hungry Like the Wolf, a fresh comedy that weaves together history, humor, and meaningful social themes, all set against a memorable 80s backdrop with a love for Duran Duran. This lively production dives into labor rights and gender equity, featuring a cast of eccentric and bold characters. Get ready for an experience like no other at History Theater. Catch the exciting performances from March 19th to April 12th at the History Theater in downtown St. Paul. Grab your tickets today at historytheater.com.
This is Alex Knorr from Buzz Cut Mowing, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. I take the hard work off your plate with weekly mowing. I also offer leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I'll keep your lawn beautiful so you can enjoy your weekends with the people who matter most. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Jack Rice is kind enough to join us. And once again, he's a defense lawyer. He has been named the best defense lawyer in the state at times. He is very good at this. If you have a question about a case, call him. He'll sit down. He'll chat with you. JackRiceLaw.com. JackRiceLaw.com. He trust me, he is the guy. If I need him, I'm calling Jack. And that's just that. That's the one person you need to go with. And, of course, catch him on Court TV and his thousands of television appearances. The battle of the network stars. That's what's coming next, Eric.
Is that? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm wearing a thong at the next one. It'll be great. No, trust me. You don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, what we do want to see in Minnesota. How about that for a
nice transition? Look at you.
Radio. We've had, of course, obviously the state of Minnesota filed a lawsuit. Keith Ellison, Mary Moriarty, the Hennepin County attorney, they want the evidence in the shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. They want them because obviously we've seen the video footage. There look like there are crimes that were committed here. The federal government has said, no, we're not going to give them to them. And I want to get into this a little bit because it does seem like there are laws on the books which say, no, you can't keep evidence away from a jurisdiction just because you're concerned that jurisdiction might file charges.
Matt, look, you know, as we were talking about Iran, and I'm a former CIA case officer, so that's my background when it comes to those issues, and I've done a lot of work around the world since all of that time too. So that's how that fits. But I'm also a former prosecutor, and as a defense attorney, I'm an officer of the court, and I'm watching issues constantly, and I've been trying cases in Minnesota for decades. And the thing is that what Mary Moriarty, what the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, what the Attorney General's Office, the Minnesota Attorney General's Office, and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, that's the other party as the plaintiffs in this case.
Yes.
What they're asking for is completely and utterly normal. This is something that always happens. The idea that the federal government is excluding the state and our law enforcement and our prosecutors from just simply seeing the evidence is beyond the pale. It is extraordinary. And understand, we have the right to see it. The 10th Amendment of the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, says we get to see it. We should be able to see it because the purpose is we have the right to prosecute our own cases. We have the right. If you think about the George Floyd circumstance with Derek Chauvin. In fact, what we saw under those circumstances was Derek Chauvin was prosecuted in state court and he was prosecuted in federal court. And they ran side by side, if you will. Actually, they was prosecuted, convicted in the state, but then the feds stepped in. But they could have done it side by side if they really wanted to. So that is one piece of this. The 10th Amendment allows for it. Now, there's something called the Supremacy Clause that actually means it protects federal agents when they're doing their job. And my response is absolutely, if they're doing their job.
Yes.
You know, without that issue, my response is if I'm a federal agent, and I was, if I simply go out and decide to commit some heinous crime in Tennessee or Florida or Mississippi or Minnesota, the idea of saying that none of those states could prosecute me because I'm a federal agent, no. If I'm working within the context of my job, I'm protected. But it is not an absolute protection. And when we take a look at both the Good and the Pretty cases, we have extraordinary amounts of evidence already. And what that is one of these.
Yes.
And we have thousands of them. And we've already been able to establish that, especially in Mr. Pretty's case, I'll stick with just that one. What we saw was he had his weapon taken from him. He never threatened anybody with it. It came from him because a federal agent took it. And once they took it, they not only shot him, they then stepped back and shot him multiple more times. There were no threats when it comes to those questions. That is simply manslaughter or murder. You want to fight whatever that definition may mean. The problem is you don't get to do that as a federal agent and then claim that's part of your job, because nobody's allowed to go out into the street and shoot unarmed civilians. That's what they did in this case. And so what they're doing now is they're trying to hide behind this issue by saying, we don't have to do it. All that Moriarty, all the BCA, all that the Attorney General's office, Keith Ellison, is trying to do is to say, provide the evidence. They just want the identities of these agents. They just want whatever else forensics they were able to get, what other information they were able to acquire, what other statements were being made, what other videotapes, what other still photos, whatever else they did. The accident reconstruction that was done on this, that they should simply provide this, because if the feds choose to prosecute, fine, do it. Think again, Derek Chauvin. If the feds choose not to prosecute this case, that does not preclude the state from doing so. They have the right. That's what the 10th Amendment says. And so the purpose is to say, share the evidence that you have so we can make a fair assessment, because our citizens were killed in the street. And should they be simply left, dare I use this, left for dead for nothing? And that's really what this is actually about when it comes down to it.
The federal government cannot basically say a state cannot prosecute a crime. Basically,
Correct. Correct. They can't. What they can do is they can say, if you're trying to prosecute a crime, if you overstep in what you're doing, there may be a federal immunity that stops you from doing it, but that is a definition and something that must be addressed. That doesn't mean you don't have the ability to prosecute.
And by the way, of all states that it happened to, you brought up the George Floyd shooting. We've already done this dance before, where people tried to defend Derek Chauvin and say in the line of duty, and we got through that, and we saw through that. This is not the state you mess with.
No, come on. I mean, we move beyond that issue. I mean, we have this circumstance with them, but we had George Floyd before that, and we also had the Speaker of the House who was assassinated. You add that piece to it. We're traumatized as a society.
We are. Jack Rice, once again, catch him on Core TV. If you need legal defense advice, give him a call. JackRiceLaw.com. JackRiceLaw.com. Jack, absolutely outstanding. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. Chicago, Seattle, I'll talk to you in a week. Minneapolis, St. Paul, bam, hour 2 up next. March Madness is here, and Popcorn, that's Popped corn.com, is a game time decision for you. Enjoy your favorite flavor of popped corn, gourmet popcorn, like cheese made with real cheese, the classic mix, or the featured flavor of Shamrock Caramel. And many college teams are featured on Popped Corn's tins. You can ship your favorite team tin across the USA. Find your team at poppedcorn.com and enter the discount code of Matt to get 10% off your order. That's discount code of MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com.
Step into Forts, a fort-building wonderland at Children's Theater Company, only through April 5th. Theatrical elements, evolving light and soundscapes, and towers of cardboard boxes set the scene for creative play. Build the tallest fort, the longest fort, or tons of cozy little forts. Design a castle or a neighborhood. Your imagination leads the way as you play freely and create shared stories together in real life. Forts at CTC only through April 5th. Spring break weekdays available. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Your Need to Know News headquarters, the Tom Hartman Program, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Senate passed a bill early this morning to fund most of the Homeland Security Department, but Sakamagani reports House Republicans have now rejected it.
The Senate bill would pay TSA workers, but not fund ICE or Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol.
This gambit that was done last night is a joke.
And Speaker Mike Johnson says the House will instead look to pass a bill funding the entire department for roughly 2 months, challenging the Senate to follow suit.
They could do that as early as Monday.
Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says the measure would be dead on arrival, meaning the DHS shutdown, now in its 42nd day, could drag on. President Trump has now signed an executive order to pay TSA agents. His new Homeland Security chief says they should start seeing paychecks as soon as Monday. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Israel's warning it will expand its campaign against Iran as Iran keeps firing missiles at Israel and Gulf Arab states. Israel also pushed more troops into southern Lebanon today. The U.S. military continued striking Iran, too. Secretary of State Marco Rubio flew to France for a meeting of his counterparts from G7 allies, offering a softer tone after President Trump's repeated insults and complaints about allies' lack of cooperation in the Iran war.
Immediately after this thing ends, we're done with our objectives, one of the immediate challenges we're going to face is an Iran that may decide that they want to set up a tolling system in the Straits of Hormuz. Not only is this illegal, it's unacceptable, it's dangerous to the world, and it's important that the world have a plan to confront it. The United States is prepared to be a part of that plan.
Another losing week for Wall Street. It's fifth in a row and the worst since the Iran war started. The S&P fell 1.6%. The Dow dropped 1.7%. The Nasdaq 2.1%. Crude oil prices rose again. Brent crude settling above $105 per barrel. This is AP News.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either, because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Hey, it's Tom Hartman, and here's a thought I keep coming back to. Your utility company raised its rates last year. It'll raise them next year and the year after that. And you have no vote, no say, and no alternative, unless you generate your own power. That's what solar makes possible for your home and your business. All Energy Solar has been helping homeowners and commercial operators take back control of their energy since 2009. They design every system specifically for you, your property, your usage, your goals. No cookie cutter solutions, no pressure, just honest answers and expert work. Minnesota homeowners also benefit from sales tax, property tax exemptions, and some local incentives depending on where you live. And commercial customers can still get access to the 30% federal investment tax credit through 2027. But you have to act soon. The sun shows up every day and asks nothing in return. All Energy Solar helps you capture it. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 38. Tonight, clear with a low around 25. And Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 54. Experience a gourmet dining destination at Cafe Latte. Their ever-changing menu of award-winning salad, sandwiches, and soups ensures you'll always find something to love. Because ingredients matter, Cafe Latte never uses artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Visit them on Victoria and Grand. More at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Friday. Matt and Brett here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, as well as on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network at blueamp.co on Substack. Hi, everybody. It's Matt. Yay. All right, so a few things. First of all, I've got two pairs of tickets to go see Lewis Black to give away today. So you need to listen for your chance to win twice. Lewis Black, of course, most of us recognize him from the Daily Show, not the Daily Show, the show on right before mine. The Daily Show, of course, on Comedy Central. He's on there and he's absolutely brilliant. He's going to be at Mystic Lake Showroom on May 1st at 8 p.m. Listen for your chance to win tickets for that. Lewis Black in town. Also, we've got to make sure we know this, the reason why Brett's smiling today is because this is my last day in the station for a week. So the joy, the excitement, the fumigation that will happen while I'm gone is something he is appreciating. Fumigation. Yeah. All right. Well, but we should mention, who's our lineup here? Let's talk. Is it Bruce on Monday? Bruce
Monday. Yep. Philip Tuesday, Wednesday. Ellie Thursday, Friday.
Ellie Krug Thursday, Friday. Make sure you're listening to her. Fantastic hosts all for you. You're going to actually say, why are you bringing him back? And I don't blame you. I don't know. I have no idea, but you'll enjoy that. I'll be back. I will be back on Monday after Easter. You have a nice week next week. We'll make sure we get that out of the way here. So, God, I'm still, kind of the Jack Rice interview, man. Dear Lord, was that good. And the one thing I like when I do an interview is if I'm hearing stuff I am not hearing from anybody else, and he's the first person I've heard to say, oh, yeah, we've already destabilized the entire Middle East at this point. That's crazy. Oh, and the fact that he specifically said, watch Oman, watch that country. And by the way, if you've looked at a map, that's not good because that's the other side of the Strait of Hormuz. Coming up here in a little bit, I am going to be interviewing. This is Robert Frame, Making Mill City, Flower and Fortune in Minneapolis. I will be talking to him about this. That's coming up here in just a little bit. I did want to take some time to go over the No Kings because once again, the flagship demonstration for the No Kings protest this time around actually is happening here in Minnesota. It's over in St. Paul, and it's going to be massive over there. And they're just basically saying they want everyone to come on out. And for everyone, I just want to make sure I say this from, right from the get-go. I am not going over there. I'm not. I'm going to actually go to one of the protests that's near my house, and I'm going to do it there. There is no wrong way to do this, people. Okay, there is no wrong way to protest at a No Kings rally. If it's 10 people, God bless you, love you. If it's 100,000 people, I think it's going to be even more than 100,000 in St. Paul. Both work. Let your voice be heard. Let that orange jackass in the White House know that we do not appreciate it. Nobody likes you, Donald. Nobody likes you. Not even the people around you. Seriously, what's the over-under on Melania walking outside the White House with the No King sign? It can't be 0. It ain't 0. I can't
imagine she's enjoying herself in the White House. So yeah, why not?
That's why she wears all those hats to hide. I do think that Trump might I don't see her. She disappeared. Oh, there she is under the lamp. You know, that's why she's wearing all those hats. She's learned how to stand perfectly still, and basically no one can see her. He walks by. He's hello, lamp.
Are we supposed to get a nice positive portrayal of her from that movie, though?
Oh yeah, that worked. I saw a sign of all the movie and the DVDs, and basically discounted. It's like,
oh, is it like one of those bins you see like at the middle of a retail store of just DVDs from 20 years ago? No one
Big
bought.
Trouble in Little China 4 or Melania. I'm gonna go with. I don't even know who's in this movie. I'll go with that one. Anyway, there is no wrong way to protest. Let your voice be heard. Stand up for America, because this isn't not America right now. This is not the America I grew up in. It's some sort of roid rage, frat boy, drunken, jackassian version of this country. That's what we got going on. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the racism, the misogyny, the anti-LGBTQ, the whole thing. I'm just so damn tired of it. And everyone acting like this is normal. It's not. Let your voice be heard tomorrow. Now, the website, I'm not sure, it's Indivisible. I think that's the one that has all the sites on it. Go find your nearest site. Go out there and protest. And once again, please, please, please make your voice be heard. Okay? I will say, let me go through what's going on here in St. Paul, because a lot of people are going to go over there. Massive crowds expected in St. Paul for the No Kings protest tomorrow. More than 3,000 protests are scheduled across the U.S. on Saturday, with organizers calling the Twin Cities event its national flagship event. The third rally under the No Kings banner has organizers estimating as many as 80 to 100,000 attendees to descend on the streets around the state capitol. I think it's going to be more. The events are in protest of the policies of the big orange jackass. St. Paul's place as a focal point of the march event comes in the wake of the administration's Operation Metro Surge, which resulted in hundreds of people being wrongly detained by federal immigration officers, as well as agents shooting and killing Renee Good and Alex Preddy in the streets of Minneapolis. Operation Metro Surge, with more than 3,000 federal agents deployed to Minnesota, also impacted the economy, with multiple reports indicating that local businesses have lost millions and workers lost in excess of $100 million. That's Republican policy for you. Reminder, the Minnesota GOP welcomed and applauded everything that these people did. They thought it was great, including the murders of Good and Preddy. They thought that was quality work. Rebecca Larson, the event organizer with Indivisible Twin Cities, said St. Paul is selected for the flagship location in part because of the activism and pushback from Minnesota citizens in response to the presence of ICE. Here's what you need to know. In Minnesota, the St. Paul event is expected to be the largest, but it's far from the only one where protesters will gather. Marches are being again at noon at 3 separate locations in St. Paul. So here's how they're going to do it. They're starting out of like it's going to be like what was that cartoon from the things where the 5 cats came together and made one big robot? You remember that? God.
That one's not ringing a bell for me.
Oh, God, I can't remember. But anyway, it's like that. You're going to create one big robot protest. Okay, what's going to happen here? Because you're starting in 3 separate locations, and then they'll come together and form sweet, sweet union. Oh, burn some incense. St. Paul College, that's one of them. Harriet Island, that's another one. And then the Western Sculpture Park. All 3 kickoff locations will have live music beginning at 11 a.m., run through the start of the march. Smaller rallies are taking place throughout the state of Minnesota, with events planned for Alexandria, Austin, Bemidji, Cloquet, Detroit Lakes, Duluth, Fergus Falls, Grand Rapids, New Ulm, Owatonna, Red Wing, Rochester, St. Cloud, St. Peter, Stillwater, and Thief River Falls, as well as 2 harbors, dozens of other cities as well. A lot of those cities I just mentioned are big old right-wing cities too. Thief River Falls, you say? Okay. A rally with speakers and music will be held outside the state capitol at 2 p.m. for those who aren't participating in the marches beforehand. So you can go down to the capitol at 2, or you can be part of these satellite groups that merge together to form one massive protest at the state capitol. Organizers have not shared times for music and speeches yet, but it will feature Senator Bernie Sanders, Bruce Springsteen, Governor Walz, Joan Baez, Jane Fonda, and many local politicians. Let's see, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, Ilhan Omar will be there, Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, Maggie Rogers, singer-songwriter, she'll be out there as well. So it's going to be a huge event out there. If the attendance projections are close to estimates, driving to events will be an endeavor. Organizers strongly encourage attendees to take public transportation, bike, or carpool, though parking details are available on its website. For those, I'm going to just say this. Okay, so you know where the Capitol is, right? You know, behind the cathedral on the other side of the highway there, up the top of the hill, there's a ton of neighborhoods back there. You probably could park on the street there. Might be a little bit of a hike, but there you go. I know all those areas because of the Twin Cities Marathon comes down through there. And so, yeah, you can go up there and visit one of the local shops, for goodness sakes. Make sure you buy something. St. Paul police have announced they will be closing several streets and highway exit ramps due to protests. 2 sections right around the state capitol will be closed from Saturday morning through the evening. Other closures are expected to take place roughly from right before noon to about 1:30. That includes Wabasha Street from Kellogg to 12th, John Ireland Boulevard from 12th over to among the closures that can be seen on if you check their website. The department will also close eastbound, westbound Marion Street exits on the I-94 and northbound 11th Street exit off of 35E. So there you go. You're set to go. Now, if you are listening to me on the Blue Ant Media Network, awesome. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, wherever you're at right now, the largest cities also, the main ones downtown are going to be busy. Check with your local website, find out where your best parking or transportation options are, and make sure your voice is heard. Please, please make sure your voice is heard. Once again, we've got Robert Frame coming up here, Making Mill City, that book in a little bit. I'm going to take a break a little early here because I got a story that came up that reminded me I still have some questions for one Elliot Engen. I'll get to that here in a second. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Get ready for Easter fun with the annual Easter brunch at the Park Tavern. Enjoy Easter ham, all your Easter breakfast and brunch favorites, and all the sides and desserts. Seatings are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th, and you need reservations. $29.95 for adults, $19.95 for those over 65 and under 12 years old, and 5 and under are free. And don't forget the hour of free bowling with every reservation. Call 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Enjoy a delicious, stress-free Easter with the Park Tavern.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
is the Matt McNeil Show. Hey, we like it when you follow me. Matt McNeil Show on Substack. Matt McNeil Show on Substack, and of course on the Blue Sky, Matt McNeil Show over there as well. Facebook, Progressive Citizen X, Matt McNeil Show, and on the threads, Matthew McNeil 1. Hello, bon appetit, enjoy. Lewis Black is going to be playing the Mystic Lake Showroom coming up here on May 1st at 8 p.m. If you would like to go see Lewis Black, be caller number 5 right now, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I got one pair of tickets to give away right now to go see Lewis Black. If you want to go see him, good luck. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you will win. So I'm going to bring up somebody here we have talked about in the past because, unfortunately, there's a little bit of, I guess you could say, unfortunate news for one Elliot Engen, the Minnesota representative, who is a young fella who is also running for the state auditor position. That's right, he's running for state auditor. He is a Republican from the White Bear Township. He was arrested early Monday morning on Friday, of this last Friday, on suspicion of driving while impaired. White Bear Lake Police Chief Dale Hager, in a statement, said that at about 1:51 a.m. Friday, in White Bear Lake, officers pulled over a vehicle for traffic violations, including speeding, expired tabs, and a broken headlight. White Bear officers arrested the driver, identified as Representative Engen, for suspicion of driving while impaired. Now, can I just say this? A broken headlight? It was cracked. Did he hit something? Anyway. Hager said Engen took a breath test at the White Bear Lake Police Department where he blew a 0.13 blood alcohol concentration. That was at the police department well after they pulled him over. The legal limit is 0.08. He was booked in the Ramsey County Adult Detention Center at 4:42, released at 6:21 on Friday morning. The Minnesota House had a 6-hour floor session on Thursday night that ended around 9:30 p.m. But that when the floor session ends, the drinking begins. Records show Engen, who is also a candidate for state auditor, which I'll come back to that in a second, has been charged with 2 misdemeanors, a 4th-degree DWI and a 4th-degree DUI. Engen, in a statement, said he was deeply sorry. I strive to be a man of great character, and my actions, I'll come back to that in a second as well. My actions fell short last night. I will learn from this. House Speaker Demuth released a statement in the day. I'm extremely disappointed to learn of Representative Engen's arrest. I'll be working to gather information about the circumstances of arrest, and we'll deal with this directly with Representative Engen and consider further consequences of the legal process unfold. So, the second-term legislator, who's among the state's first Gen Z lawmakers, joins a growing list of Minnesota legislators arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. Many of them have. It's been a problem here in both sides of the aisle. The Engen attended Hamline University, where he is a founder of the chapter of Turning Point USA, a political group founded by the late Charlie Kirk. Engen's state auditor campaign has been laser focused in fraud in Minnesota. Although the office oversees local government financial integrity, he has no jurisdiction over state dollars. Engen's DUI arrest means that both a Republican and DFL candidate for state auditor have been arrested for driving while impaired. Wolgamott in 2023 was arrested in Kanabec County for a suspicion of DWI. His blood alcohol concentration was 0.09. A few months later, pled guilty to the DWI charge. Back in September, Engen alluded to Wolgamott's drunk driving charge after Wolgamott launched his auditor campaign. So this is Engen. This is the guy who I strive to be a man of great character, he says. And before his own DUI, said the DFL has been drunk at the wheel and protecting taxpayer dollars for systemic fraud. Ha! Zinger, man. Gotcha. You just got Engened. I don't think he added any of that stuff to the end of it. But here's the thing. I'm going to say this. Now, first of all, for the record, I don't drink. I gave up drinking years ago. It was one of the better freaking decisions I've ever made in my life. Hands down. Absolutely. Can't recommend it enough. That being said, you do or don't want to do what are you going to do? I've had friends who have been pulled over and got a DWI. It's unfortunate. Especially in this day and age where you got Ubers and Lyfts, or you carpool, or you can walk, or you can bike, you can do all this stuff. You don't have to do this, but yet it does still happen. Most of the people I know are fairly contrite and realize that they've made a mistake. Engen does seem to be that. But I want to remind people that when somebody else had a drinking and driving thing, Engen was making fun and mocking them. So now the expectation is that we need to treat him better than he treats other people when it comes to drinking and driving. That's clearly, it's the unsaid thing, but that's kind of, hey, I'm really sorry here. No, dude, if we took a page from your Turning Point USA book, shouldn't we be mocking you and making fun of you for the drinking and driving? Shouldn't we? Because that's what you did. And now all of a sudden, these guys are out of control. No, you yourself did this. But I also want to make sure he wants to be the state auditor. One of the charges against him was that he didn't have, let's see, where was it here? He has expired tabs on his car. Okay, you want to be a nitpicking person that goes over the details of budgets at the local level. Because once again, the auditor in the state of Minnesota does not review statewide fraud. That is, their job is to review local county issues. Like if a county gets money for a water treatment facility, that the money was spent appropriately. It's that sort of thing. Kind of boring, but the people that get into it are doing that. They're kind of detail-oriented people. Well, you don't even, dude, listen here, you zygote. You basically don't even know if the tabs on your car need to be renewed. Don't tell me you're ready for the auditor position. I'm far more bothered by that than the drinking and driving. I'm a little bothered by the fact that he used someone else's drinking and driving against them, but now he has a drinking and driving conviction himself. But you want to be the state auditor? You want to be a state auditor and you can't even keep your vehicle legal? Well, good luck with that. Now, by the way, if you're saying to yourself, wait a second, why does Elliot Engen sound familiar? Because I featured him in a story not that long ago, about a month ago. He was the clown car for, speaking of which, Tiger Woods is signed him what's of something. That news story just came across my feed here. Tiger Woods. So, all righty. Don't drink and drive. Okay, just don't do that. How about I say it like that? I hope he's learned his lesson. I hope he sobers up. I hope he doesn't realize he doesn't need to make mistakes. But I also realize that he probably owes Wolgamont an apology, as well as also you probably don't want to be the state auditor if you can't keep your freaking tabs on your car in legal. The story from earlier, Elliot Engen. He's recently accused Democratic lawmakers of being responsible for the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Remember this story? He made the claims during an appearance on a local right-wing show last month. During the interview, Engen claimed to have access to a donor list for a nonprofit called Ice Out Minnesota. This nonprofit helped coordinate the statewide protests in Minnesota on January 23rd in response to the immigration customs action across the state. Engen also said without evidence that those apparent donors were responsible for funding a coordinated insurgency effort that led to Preddy and Good being killed. There are over 55 people that I found on this donor file of Minnesota governing prominence. So basically he's saying, I've seen the list of these people. It's a bunch of Democratic leaders in the state, and we need to throw the book at them because all this agency did was tell them to, and kind of the implication from what his statement is, they went out there to basically cause trouble. When that wasn't true. But it didn't stop him. I don't know, maybe he was drunk. I don't know. But it didn't stop him from saying these things. It was really them trying to sow the chaos that led to the two deaths. That's how he tried to do it. He did not respond to the story. This is from the fine folks over at Heartland Signal. They put the story out. I went back, I found it. That was the story. But there's a problem here with his story because once again, Ice Out Minnesota is a relatively new organization. Its donor list is not publicly available. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The IRS would not typically not make Ice Out Minnesota's donor list public. The organization also encourages nonviolent protesting as they demand accountability from federal agents, which has been absent from the Trump administration. Now, so once again, he said very clearly, I saw a donor list. Well, how? Now, once again, it also should be noted, this is a brand new outlet. This is a brand new 501c3. Their requirement for filing that information is not now. So there has not been a donor list that has been submitted to the government because they are brand new. Once they get to the fiscal year and their taxes are due or their data is due, which they have, well, they'll have to turn that in. But to my knowledge, at the time that Elliot Engen was screaming about this, bellowing about this, blubbering about this, they had not turned in a donor list. That yet aside, even if they had, it's a 501c3, which are not public. So Elliot Engen, now what I said originally was either Elliot Engen was lying and he's just saying this because I hate you Democrats. Why don't you take these beatings professionally? I'm guessing that might be a paraphrasing it. He just didn't like the Democrats because, well, frankly, ICE was looking really bad and the Democrats pointing it out. It's easier to attack the messenger, that sort of thing. So either he was lying about it, okay, or he did get access to this list, which means somebody in the IRS or somebody there leaked a list which he should not have access to, yet he does have this. And once again, this guy wants to be a state auditor. But I guess now we can add a third category in there. He could have been drunk. I guess we could do that, couldn't we there, Elliot? We could. 1.3, dude, man, you were not just borderline. You were schnockered. So, Elliot, what is it? Did you make up that list because you're just angry at the Democrats for, basically standing up to ICE? Did you actually see that list, which you should not have had access to? And once again, as you want to be the auditor and you can't even keep the freaking tabs on your car up to date there, Elliot, Mom and Dad, can you help me out? I don't know. Or were you drunk? I have no idea if Elliot Engen has his help from his mom and dad on his tabs. I'm making jokes. That's what I do. It is somewhat delicious, though, watching somebody who's tried to be so much this next generation of MAGA. Boom goes the dynamite. How about we say it like that? 952-946-6205. We're going to change direction radically when I come back. Making Mill City. Robert Frame's going to join us here. We're going to talk about the rise of the milling industry in Minnesota and how it built the city of Minneapolis when we do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
In an era defined by fear and silence, one woman dared to stand alone against the tide. Theater in the Round Players presents Conscience, the inspiring true story of Senator Margaret Chase Smith. In 1950, Smith became the first woman to challenge McCarthyism on the Senate floor. This powerful drama captures her courageous declaration of conscience, a moment of political integrity that resonates deeply today. Witness this stirring portrait of moral courage from March 27th through April 19th. Tickets and more information at theaterintheround.org.
For delicious gourmet popcorn, Popcorn, P-O-P-P-E-D corn.com has you covered. Popcorn offers your favorite flavors ready to go. Cheese made with real cheese, their classic mix. More than 80 great flavors. Enjoy featured flavors like Shamrock Caramel and their tasty fudge and nuts. They sell their popcorn in various bag, gift box, and tin sizes, and they ship across the USA. Visit popcorn.com and enter in discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, P-O-P-P-E-D corn.com, and make everyone smile.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Make Libby part of your spring break plans and bring your library wherever you go. With the Libby app from MELSA, the Metropolitan Library Service Agency, you can borrow ebooks, audiobooks, graphic novels, comics, and digital magazines right on your phone, tablet, or Kindle. Just download the Libby app at libbyapp.com. Enter your library card and start reading or listening. Best of all, the app is free, and so are the books, thanks to your public library.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 25, Saturday partly sunny with a high near 54, and Sunday sunny with a high around 68. The bakery at Cafe Latte features legendary cakes, cupcakes, and fresh-baked breads crafted with real ingredients. You won't find artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives at Cafe Latte, just pure quality. Whether it's a sweet treat or gourmet meal, head to Victoria and Grand for Cafe Latte. More at cafelatte.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
It is the Matt McNeil Show on the Blue Amp Media Network and, of course, on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Brett, did we give away those tickets to the fine Lewis Black?
Yeah, we have winner.
Who is that winner?
We have Jeff from Wisconsin calling.
Jeff from Wisconsin. Do we allow Wisconsin winners? I guess we do. I guess
small tax. We put on there.
Okay. Well, no. We'll let them on, and of course, everyone wants to see Lewis Black, which brings up the next point. I got another pair of tickets to give away right now to go see Lewis Black. Oh, this is going to be once again at the Mystic Lake Showroom, May 1st, 8 p.m. Lewis Black, hilarious. You will have a great time with that. Caller number 5, 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you will go see Lewis Black over at the Mystic Lake Showroom in May. Good luck for you on that. 952-946-6205. Joining me right now is Robert Frame. The Making Mill City, Flour and Fortune in Minneapolis is the book. It is an exceptionally researched book on the history of the milling industry in Minnesota and how it built a city. And he's kind enough today to join us to talk about this book. Hello. Can I go with Bob? Bob on this?
Yes, Bob's fine. Thanks, Matt.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate the time. This is, of course, we've had Larry Millett on the show numerous times. Larry is, we're big fans of Larry Millett here. When he says, eye-opening and superbly researched, I said, okay, he knows. This book is fantastic. And I'm a bit of a history wonk myself, this is really good because it's a fascinating deep dive into this one industry and how a few things came together to really make it explode here in Minnesota, as well as also, build the city of Minneapolis itself.
That's right. I think the book runs from around the middle of the 19th century, just after the Civil War, up until about the time of the Depression. So basically the 1870s through the 1920s. That's kind of the arc of the story, the rise of what they called the monster or the mammoth mills in Minneapolis, that in the beginning in the 1860s, no one knew that was ever going to happen. At a time it was thought La Crosse, Wisconsin might be the next milling center of the United States. And instead, within 10 years, it turned out to be Minneapolis. And it's largely because of a couple inventions that happened in Minneapolis, the development of a couple machines. And this is the time of the Industrial Revolution. And it has to do with the wheat that was being grown and ground here in Minnesota and the upper Midwest that was different from the wheat that was grown in the East. Just to get into some wheat details, in the East, they grew something called soft winter wheat. And that was really easy to grind up in the millstones that they used at the time. The kernel and the inside was easy to grind down to flour in one grinding, and the bran was easy to sift out. And that was important because the people who wanted to buy that flour wanted white flour, as white as it could possibly be. That was the most expensive and the highest quality flour. Now, here in the upper Midwest and in Minnesota, they grew hard spring wheat, and it acted just the opposite of that soft winter wheat. The kernel on the inside was very hard to easily grind up into fine flour. It broke into pieces called middlings, and when that happened, the bran shattered into tiny specks. It wasn't easy to sift out. They had trouble really making nice flour. It would be specky. Nobody wanted specky flour. They're looking for that pure white flour, until a couple French-Canadian milling engineers that were brought down to Faribault from Canada. They started working with their French milling education, and they developed this middling purifier that was first used around 1870, 1871. And what that did is it ground the hard wheat in a series of grindings. They would grind it a bit, so you get these chunks in the middle called the middlings. And then you had the bran that was still in larger pieces, and you could sift it out through a process in this machine using air draft. And they got the middlings that were pure or purified. Then they could grind those down into flour. So a series of grindings, they run it through their middlings purifier, and then they could get this pure white flour. And the real bonus was, it turns out the hard spring wheat that we were growing here in Minnesota and that the millers got was great for bread. And bread is what everybody wanted to make. They weren't interested in anything else. All the flour sales went to bakers and bakeries to make bread. So you got this new hard spring wheat flour, which now was part of a patented process. So they called it patent flour. And it was perfect. It was expensive. It brought a higher price when they were selling their barrels of flour in the East. Almost overnight, it changed the market. The Eastern flour was not so good anymore. Our Minnesota flour was excellent. The millers made more money. They started making more and more flour. They enlarged their mills in Minneapolis. A mill, maybe before this happened, a large mill might be 200 or so barrels of flour in one day. A barrel of flour is 196 pounds. So maybe you get 200. Pretty soon they were building mills in Minneapolis that would produce hundreds of barrels, 1,000 barrels. Then you got the big Washburn A mill in 1874 that had lots of millstones in it, more than almost any other mill in the world. 41 pairs of millstones in 1874. And that was just on the verge of a second invention, and that's the modern roller mill. And the modern roller mill replaced the ancient millstones, and it was mechanized. The millstones were hard to work with. Each one was unique. They couldn't be standardized, but the modern roller mill, using iron rolls, fit into a modern process, and that allowed them to make the mills even larger and run them very quickly. Pretty soon you had the giant mills, and you had flour dust that created the explosion of 1878.
I'll tell you what, let's unpack a little bit of what we've gone through,
Sure.
because we went through a lot here. Because we don't underestimate, I mean, as much as someone say, well, okay, well, you're talking about flour milling, this really changed America as a country, because as you said, all of a sudden, when you talk about the two inventions, the middlings purifier and the modern roller mill, they might not be on par with the cotton gin, but they were revolutionary. And once again, not only are you talking about opening up a market here and being able to deal with a tougher wheat, but it created, I mean, if you look at the map, there's a lot of farms that run from the Dakotas all the way down to Nebraska. All of a sudden you had a destination. People could send the wheat that was a little more difficult, and they could get it taken care of. You talked about an industrial revolution. This whole process changed how Americans got their flour, farmers got their product to market, and how we ate. I mean, it changed a lot of things.
Yeah, and it really improved upon what they had already been doing. And it really boosted things in Minneapolis. I mean, suddenly St. Anthony Falls, at its height, would have 20 to 25 mills operating at any one time. And they were big mills, and they became the biggest in the world with an astonishing production capacity. When you look at the biggest, the Pillsbury A mill, which is still there on the east side, It's now Artist Loft. None of the mills are operating grinding flour anymore, but that mill produced at its height almost 17,000 barrels of flour in one day, in a 24-hour period. That's astonishing. In the part I wrote about in the book, they said if you were producing 17,000 barrels of flour in a day, it might take 80 rail cars of wheat for that one day, and to take the flour away in the barrels, maybe a couple hundred railroad cars. It's staggering. So it's no wonder the mills were as big as they were.
We also should mention there's a very specific thing we haven't really talked about, what we should talk about here. Minneapolis right now is the only waterfall on the Mississippi River. St. Anthony Falls is here. The first major industry that was here was lumber. And I've seen some of the pictures of the lumber mills that were up on the top of the, good luck with that. They were there. You know, when you're looking into this and the rise of the flour mills, I mean, obviously, and I've been to some of the historic sites around where you had these just small little mills out in the middle of the woods where there was a little bit of a current on a creek or something like this, and they're able to create and grind flour there. Was milling of flour there at the beginning, or was it one of those things that once they pretty much cut down a lot of the trees in Minnesota and they needed to move on to new locations, there was an industry that was needed and they looked at that?
Yeah, it kind of grew up as the lumber industry was fading, then the flour industry was rising. They didn't exactly compete along the Mississippi at St. Anthony Falls. They used different locations very close to each other, but the lumber mills didn't need the heavy stone structures that the flour mills did with their machinery and their turbines and a lot of machinery vibration. The flour mills could actually be built on a platform out over the Mississippi River, almost like a temporary shed. Instead, the flour mills were very permanent. They were built on the shore, mostly on the west side. But they pretty much took over the water power, and the lumber mills in the Twin Cities went away in favor of the flour mills. And they were such permanent buildings that, of course, you have some that are still standing today.
And we should mention there are ruins. If you go down to downtown Minneapolis, you get on the Stone Arch Bridge, you can see them all over the place. There are still ruins of these mills that are still there, which is a callback to the height of this. You had alluded to something, the explosion of the mill. We should talk about this as well. Was the mill explosion that happened in Minneapolis, which was a fairly substantial, I'll let you talk about that, but was that perpetrated more because these modern milling techniques created more flour dust in the air, and hence, which is incredibly flammable? Was the modern technology the cause of that being more volatile?
Yeah, basically they didn't quite understand what they were doing by having so much flour dust loose inside the mill. And this is in the middle 1870s, after these machines were on their way. And that 1878 explosion was really produced by a spark coming from the stone millstones, sending a spark into the dust. There'd be maybe a small explosion very quickly that shook loose more flour that was on walls and windowsills and machines. That became loose dust in the building. That sparked a subsequent explosion, and there were fires. Basically, 5 big mills were destroyed. 18 men lost their lives in that explosion. And it was so powerful that they reported that different parts were falling in St. Paul, 10 miles away. It was quite the thing at the time.
Yeah, it did a lot of damage to the town. There was a lot of houses and stuff that were down there at the time. And I've read that pretty much there wasn't a window still intact in a good chunk of Minneapolis after that.
Yeah, that's true. It smashed glass up and down the city streets. But it also opened up that space for building the biggest mills of all. And they came right on the heels of that explosion. 1878's the explosion. 1879, they're building the Washburn A mill on the west side, and that was the biggest mill in the world until Pillsbury came along a year or so later and built the Pillsbury A mill. And then that's where things kind of sat. And those mills worked up until the 1920s. They were at their peak in the 1910s and 1910s. And then you're sort of getting the winding down of the industry, and the mills were getting older, and there was more going on other cities like Buffalo, New York, and
Yeah.
it started to shift to the east.
Well, that was the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. When they figured out how they could channel the power of Niagara Falls, that's kind of how that was. It wasn't that Minnesota was, well, they were eventually kind of doomed in the mill industry. It just was, there was kind of this idea of, well, if we channel the water away from Niagara Falls, we could power this in Buffalo, and that became much more the hub of milling for a while. Correct.
And transportation too, sending the flour east either by the Great Lakes or by railroad just wasn't as good as having the flour ground right there in Buffalo. Grinding it here and sending it east, the way things were going, the shipping rates were a real headache for the millers. And the industry shifted, and the spring wheat that was so important early on, that started changing the wheat growing and agriculture that was shifting around. It wasn't quite the same as it was 50 years earlier.
The city, it really is remarkable, because when you look at Minneapolis and you look at the Twin Cities, these are cities that they have a natural negative, which is winter and stuff. But the milling industry was able, the amount of people that poured into the city over these years because of the milling was amazing. We really ended up, that the milling industry built the Twin Cities.
And they were tourist attractions. Up into the 20th century, they would give guided tours of the mills, and tourists and visitors were encouraged to tour one of the big Minneapolis mills. They had guides there. You can still find some tickets in the General Mills archives. There was a logbook of people who toured the mills. They signed in from all over the United States. It was quite the thing, a different kind of approach to industry than what we might see today.
And then they got radio. That's like the travelers. I will say this, because there is this in Minneapolis. We have the Mill City Museum, which is a phenomenal museum. It's about the history of this stuff. You do a better job in this book. You really have a lot. This is well done book. But if you want just an idea of it, and it's great for the kids, they'll have a blast with that. But it is as well, I think one of the things that makes Minneapolis unique is we still have the remnants of the mills. And it does kind of give you that type of, the lumber mills are all gone. Those were on the falls. They took them all out years ago. But the flour industry, which came in right after that, still exists and still thrives, because you can see everything they did and the engineering and all that stuff. It really is remarkable.
Yeah, there are 5 of the original mill buildings remaining. Yeah. And that includes the 2 big A mills, and then 3 lesser mills, the Crown Roller Mill's another one. They've all been converted to other uses, and a 1991 fire really took out the center of the Washburn Mill, but luckily the Mill City Museum was built back up in the center, and that's great.
It has been. This book is fantastic. If you are if you're like me, I like history. If you like Minneapolis history, this is a must-have book. This is a fantastic one. Making Mill City, Flour and Fortune in Minneapolis. Robert Frame is the author. You can find it at your favorite book retailer. Bob, you want to come back anytime, man. I would love to talk about this, because like I said, I'm very wonkish on history, so I love talking about this stuff. Anytime you want to come on back, please do.
Good to talk with you. Thanks.
Take care. Congratulations on the book as well. Let's take a break here. We'll come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Did you let animals pick your insurance? You really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Get ready for Easter fun with the annual Easter brunch at the Park Tavern. Enjoy Easter ham, all your Easter breakfast and brunch favorites, and all the sides and desserts. Seatings are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th, and you need reservations. $29.95 for adults, $19.95 for those over 65 and under 12 years old, and 5 and under are free. And don't forget the hour of free bowling with every reservation. Call 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Enjoy a delicious, stress-free Easter with the Park Tavern.
History Theater brings you Hungry Like the Wolf, a fresh comedy that weaves together history, humor, and meaningful social themes, all set against a memorable 80s backdrop with a love for Duran Duran. This lively production dives into labor rights and gender equity, featuring a cast of eccentric and bold characters. Get ready for an experience like no other at History Theater. Catch the exciting performances from March 19th to April 12th at the History Theater in downtown St. Paul. Grab your tickets today at historytheater.com.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. Brett, did we give away those tickets to Lewis Black, that second pair?
Daniel in Lanesboro was our winner.
Daniel in Lanesboro, enjoy the Lewis Black Show. That should be fantastic. He is one of the funniest people on the planet right now. Absolutely have fun. So, I am going to sail off into the sunset after this show. I am heading off on my little vacation here. I am going to, like I said, got the girls in town from college. By the way, I didn't realize how late Wisconsin, they're down both on Madison, down in Wisconsin, and they have got one of the latest spring break. I don't think anyone is spring break later than them. So the thing is, it works nice for us. They come home, we get Easter together. I'm looking forward to that. You have, once again, a wonderful week. I've got, once again, Bruce Klopfleisch coming on in on Monday. I got Philip Anthony from the Downright Upright Show. That's coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday. Ellie Krug, fantastic. She is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Thursday, Friday, correct for her on both of those days?
Correct on that, yep.
Thank you very much. You enjoy that. And now, because you guys are all just wanting to watch me dance, let's do it. Hunter X. Why not? I just watched K-Pop Demon Hunters again. I'm okay with watching this here. So you enjoy the next week. I will be back here on Monday in the week. All right. Till then, see ya.
You just crossed the line. You want to get wild? Okay, I'll show you wild. Better come right, better not try. La 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 la, I can know that I'm born for it. Annoyed, the pizza that 비켜 네 앞을 뺏겨. Logging you out like a lullaby. Hear the sound ringing in your mind. Better sit down for the show, 'cause I'm gonna show you how it's done, done, done. Hot tricks, don't miss how it's done, done, done. Hot tricks, don't quit how it's done, done, done. Run, run, we run the town. Whole world playing our sound. Turn it up, it's going down. Hot tricks, show this how it's done, done, done. Yeah, something about when you come from the crowd that's so humble and high. 갑자기 외교를 번쩍 건드려 인주야 포기해 왜? Nothing to us, one of you done up, we come up from sun up to sun, so come out to play. One in a way, we one in a million, we kill it, but really you want it okay. Heels, nails, blade, mascara. Fit check for my neck pump. bro. Need to be my face, make it cute and savage. Mirror, mirror on my phone, who's the baddest? Hello. Knocking you out like a lullaby. Hear that sound ringing in your life. Better sit down for the show, cause I'm gonna show you. How it's done. I'll drop, what a bite, full of pen.
Greg Bakken here. If you love great food as much as I do, Eat Local Minnesota is your